Hi, Relaxed Recaps here. Today I'm going to explain a 2022 absurdist comedy drama film called Everything Everywhere All at Once. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. Evelyn Wang is a Chinese-American immigrant who runs a laundromat with her husband Wayman. With their laundromat business flourishing, they plan to apply for a new license to expand their business. Since their business is being audited, Evelyn is engrossed in stockpiling the receipts and other bills that are to be submitted to the IRS. Wayman wants to have a talk with Evelyn about their divorce, but seeing her preoccupied with work, he decides to postpone it for a while. He asks her if she can make time after they meet with the IRS auditor, but the inattentive Evelyn ignores Wayman's questions and asks if he is done with the preparation for the evening party. Also, Evelyn's father Gong has recently arrived in America to celebrate the Chinese New Year with them, so she wants to make sure that the party will be the perfect welcome for her father. Around lunchtime, Joy, the only daughter of Evelyn and Wayman, arrives at the laundromat with her girlfriend Becky. Joy is supposed to go to the IRS with her parents to make sure that they avoid unnecessary trouble due to the language barrier. So she's brought Becky to accompany Gong. But the thing is, Evelyn doesn't completely support Joy's relationship with Becky, and on top of that, she doesn't want to introduce Becky as Joy's girlfriend to her traditional-minded father. So she tells Joy that she can stay back with Becky to decorate for the party, while they will take Gong with them to their apartment. Just then, Evelyn is summoned to the laundromat by the customer downstairs. A regular customer of hers has come to pick up her laundry. Evelyn couldn't find their batch of clothes as Wayman had placed it upstairs, so she again makes a trip to get the clothes. Joy follows Evelyn around trying to persuade her that she wants to make her relationship official to her grandfather. Nevertheless, Evelyn changes the topic and begins grumbling about the horrible tax auditor who likes to make things difficult for the Chinese community. While the mother and daughter are fussing over it, the surveillance cameras capture Wayman acting strange, but they fail to notice it. When Evelyn and Becky come down to the laundromat with the customer's clothes, Wayman is back to normal. Just then, Gong, who has been sleeping after a long flight, also makes his appearance downstairs. After greeting her grandfather, Joy is just about to introduce Becky as her girlfriend when Evelyn interrupts and introduces the girl as Joy's good friend. Joy storms out of the shop angrily after this, and Becky follows her. That afternoon, the Wang couple and Gong go to the IRS to submit the documents. While they're in the elevator, Wayman suddenly blocks the camera with an umbrella and makes Evelyn wear a headpiece. This makes Evelyn's memories flash back, from her birth to falling in love with Wayman and eloping with him, making Gong disappointed in her, and finally settling down in the US and giving birth to Joy. All those memories make her overwhelmed. Wayman brings her back to reality and tells her not to talk about this to anyone, not even himself, because he won't remember it. This man at this instant is not her husband, but actually Alpha Wayman from another dimensional universe called Alphaverse. Alpha Wayman has temporarily taken over Wayman from this timeline, and once he leaves the body, Wayman won't remember anything. So before that, Alpha Wayman gives her a set of instructions written on the back of the divorce paper and tells her to follow it while they are in the meeting with the auditor. Evelyn does not have any idea what's going on, but once the elevator opens, Wayman is back to his normal self. During the meeting with the auditor Deirdre, Evelyn is still distracted and her focus shifts toward the paper given by Alpha Wayman, and as written on it, she switches her shoes to the wrong feet and closes her eyes, imagining that she's in the janitor's closet. This lights up the green button on the headpiece, and finally, she follows the last step and presses that green button. As soon as Evelyn presses it, her consciousness splits into two. One stays in the meeting, while the other is pulled into the janitor's room by Alpha Wayman. She explains to her that a great calamity has befallen his universe with the birth of an evil being. This madness is not only limited to his universe, but has also begun spreading into the other universes as well. And in search of that one person who can fight head-on with the evil, Alpha Wayman is in this universe. So he asks Evelyn to help him. Before he could finish his explanation, the evil Deirdre from his universe bursts her hands through the door and twists his head. And only when the evil Deirdre hit Evelyn with a pipe in the janitor's room does her consciousness return back to her own body in the real world. Meanwhile, Wayman convinces Deirdre to give them some more time, and she agrees to accept the revised documents until 6 p.m. that evening. While Evelyn walks away, she drops the divorce paper and Wayman happens to pick it up, holding the divorce paper high. Wayman tells her that he knows why she's acting strange, but all she could see is the set of instructions, not having the slightest clue about divorce. She thinks Alpha Wayman is back and tells him that she's not ready to fight when she sees Deirdre coming toward them. On the contrary, referring to their divorce, Wayman states that they don't have a choice but to fight for their love. By then, Deirdre is in front of them, and Evelyn spares no second to punch her in the face. Deirdre has come after them to return their card, but Evelyn has mistaken her for the evil Deirdre. She blames Waymond for it, and he finally clarifies that he was talking about their divorce. But upon hearing this, Evelyn is flabbergasted that he filed for divorce. Meanwhile, the security guards are called to the scene, and Alpha Waymond once again possesses his body. He then takes the headpiece off Evelyn, puts it into his ears, and begins eating a chapstick. With the verse jump and accessing the martial arts skill from another Waymond from the multiverse, he manages to subdue all 4 security guards with a fanny bag. The IRS is in pure chaos, with people running here and there. Alpha Waymond takes Evelyn to a room and tells her that in his universe, she was a brilliant woman who discovered a way to temporarily link consciousnesses from another version. He also briefly describes verse jumping, which allows one to access the memories and skills from their other self from a different universe. Every verse jumping requires jumping pads, which are random but statistically improbable actions such as switching shoes or eating chapsticks. Hearing all this, Evelyn asks how she died in his universe. Alpha Waymond tells her that not only in his universe, but in every universe, she was murdered by Jobu Tupaki, a gifted girl who was pushed beyond her limit, and as a result, her mind fractured after training rigorously to verse jump. Now, Jobu experiences every world and every possibility at the exact same time. While running hidden from the security guards, they're discovered by the evil Deirdre. She then staples a piece of paper on her forehead and verse jumps into someone with brute force. Meanwhile, the team back in his universe communicates with Alpha Waymond and tells him to get 4 paper cuts as a jumping pad for a verse jump into a gymnast. He hardly gets the paper cuts and is about to press the green button, just when evil Deirdre finds him and stops him from verse jumping. She eventually blocks him out of that floor. Next, Alpha Waymond tells her to be ready to verse jump, which requires her to concentrate on the universe where she studied martial arts. And the randomly generated jumping pad is to profess her love for Deirdre. Deirdre finds her soon enough, but since her verse jumping fails, her mind gets connected with the one from the nearby universe. Finally, at last, she successfully verse jumps and gets connected with Evelyn and becomes a martial artist before turning into a famous actress in her life. Evelyn herself couldn't believe the skill that her body is performing in fighting off evil Deirdre. She even peeks into that Evelyn's life and notices that she has started her life after following her father's instruction to leave Waymond of their universe. They don't marry in that universe, but they do cross paths after she becomes a successful actress. Just then, Alpha Waymond and Evelyn are captured by the security guard. However, Alpha Waymond disconnects the consciousness from this world as Jobu not only tracks them in the real universe, but also Alpha Waymond's team is founded in Alphaverse. The security guards try to stop Jobu, but they couldn't and suffer a loss. Evelyn finally realizes that Jobu is the alter self of her daughter, Joy. She then starts blaming Jobu that Joy has become distant from her. Evelyn tries to verse jump, but ends up jumping to the world where all the creatures have hot dogs for fingers. She then asks Jobu what she wants from her, and in response, Jobu shows her a glimpse of her ingenious creation called Bagel, which sucks everything and only the truth remains, as nothing matters. When the Bagel enlarges and starts sucking everything in, Alpha Gong Gong appears to rescue Evelyn and wakes Alpha Waymond. Now, Jobu disappears from this timeline, and Verse jumps to the Alphaverse, and real Joy comes knocking on the door where Evelyn is. As Alpha Waymond returns back to save his verse, the real Waymond opens the door to let Joy in. However, as soon as Joy enters, Evelyn tapes her on the couch. She tries explaining the concept of multiverse and verse jumping to Waymond and Joy, but they both laugh at her. Alpha Gong Gong calls Evelyn to the side and asks her to kill her daughter, but she instantly refuses. Taking things into her own hands, Alpha Gong Gong points a gun at Joy, but Evelyn tricks him and goes to hide inside the secret chamber. Meanwhile, Alpha Gong Gong orders every available jumper to be sent in Evelyn's verse. Inside that chamber, like Jobu, Evelyn could also verse jump simultaneously to different verses and assess their skills. And with these skills, she fights off the jumpers gathered outside the chamber as Waymond and Joy watch Evelyn fight the weird battle with these people. Fighting this many people exhausts Evelyn so much that she almost collapses, and for the last time, she meets Alpha Waymond before he's killed by Jobu and his connection gets cut off from Waymond forever. Right after, Jobu appears in Evelyn's universe, but having used her extensive energy and still trying to split her consciousness takes a toll on her body, and after throwing up, she collapses for good this time. Next, Evelyn has verse jumped into every other Evelyn in different universes before she wakes up back into her own body. She notices that everyone is busy preparing for the party. Evelyn spots Joy and she knows that Jobu has still not left her body, but no one seems to notice anything weird except her. Evelyn realizes that Jobu actually does not want to fight her. She gets confused and asks Jobu what she's looking for if not to fight. Jobu then takes her to Bagel and says that she has felt everything that Joy has ever felt. Evelyn tells Jobu that she wants to go back to her family, and Jobu sends a part of her consciousness back to the present world. Returning back home, Evelyn realizes that nothing really matters, so she signs the divorce paper, and Deidre shows up with the police to lien their possessions. Another Evelyn wakes up where she has collapsed, and she ends up stabbing Waymond with a piece of glass. Every Evelyn in the other verses also gives closure to their unsettled feelings and lets themselves be free. Jobu has been in constant search of someone who could see and feel what she feels, and that someone is her. She has built the Bagel to destroy nothing but herself. Jobu believes that now that Evelyn is here with her, she doesn't have to die alone. But Evelyn gets distracted and turns to look at her husband trying to convince Deidre for one more chance. Back in the laundromat, Waymond tells her that Deidre will allow them one more week. Not only in this version, but in every verse, her silly but kind husband Waymond always stands by her side to support her. And in front of the Bagel, Jobu calls her back, warning her that she can still turn around and avoid all of this. Evelyn knows it's too late now, but she imagines the possible future she could have had with Waymond. Jobu has come to get her back, but the future seems so sweet that Evelyn doesn't want to leave and end her life. However, Jobu summons the Bagel in the IRS building and starts sucking things and people nearby it. Letting their minions deal with her, Jobu heads toward the Bagel alone. Evelyn tries to stop her, but she's powerless, and Waymond reminds her to be kind no matter what. Now, all the bullets that are shot at her turn into googly eyes that she reverts back to the people. Evelyn changes her fighting style and deals with people by fulfilling her deepest desire. Now, the last person to deal with is Alpha Gong Gong, who confines Evelyn's movement and asks her to let Jobu go. Evelyn tells her that she can't do the same thing that her father has done to her, be absent emotionally. Now she holds on to Jobu and fights her anger with kindness. Evelyn gets angry when Jobu calls her by her name and yells at her saying she's her mother, and after that, not only Evelyn but her whole family put their effort to pull Jobu back. Back at the party, Evelyn acknowledges Joy for who she is and introduces Becky as her girlfriend, but Joy storms out once again. She tells Evelyn, who is following her out, that it hurts both of them when they are near, and that's not what she wants. And just then, Joy asks her to let her go, and respecting her decision, Evelyn agrees. Meanwhile, Evelyn in front of the Bagel also let go of Jobu, respecting her last wish. However, Evelyn in front of the laundromat reminds Joy that she will always want to be with her and will always cherish her. After pouring out the bitterness remaining in her heart, Joy falls back into the warm hug of her mother. The movie ends with the Wang family going back to the IRS to reapply for the license, and this time, the situation looks favorable for them. And looking at her family, Evelyn once again gets distracted. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.